و نوع مملکت باید طوری بسازیم که از هر لحاظ قوام و استحکام مملکت برقرار بشه و از لحاظ کشاورزی، از لحاظ تکنولوژی، از لحاظ صنعت برسیم به پای ممالک پیشرفته دنیا. بعد از اون مرحله برسیم به این که تمام فلسفه 17 ماده انقلاب ما بتوانیم پیاده بکنیم. یعنی ایرانی از روزی که دنیا میاد تا روزی که از دنیا میره، این در واقع بیمه شده باشه در مقابل هر چیزی. هیچ اتفاقی نباید او را از زندگی شرافتمندانه سالم خوشبختی محروم بکنه، بلکه بعکس تمام اقدامات، تمام پیشبینی‌ها، تمام ابتکارات برای این است که یک فرد ایرانی یک فرد زنده خوشبخت باشه.
25th of October marks the anniversary of Mohammad Reza Shah Pahlavi's birth, a sovereign who upheld peace and security in the Middle East and was a compassionate leader for the Iranian people. Nasrin Shah Karami's arrest is a clear sign of the Islamic Republic's weakness and fear in the face of the brave women, mothers, and patriots of Iran. Nasrin, the courageous mother of Nika Shah Karami, stood boldly against the regime after the murder of her daughter. In the face of the regime's lies and propaganda machine, she refused to stay silent. This oppressive regime seeks to silence her voice of truth, but she and our national movement for liberation will continue until victory. Nasrin Shah Karami must be released immediately and unconditionally, said His Majesty Prince Reza Pahlavi on X. The conviction of Arsham Rezai, a monarchist political prisoner currently held in Evin prison, has been upheld by the Court of Appeals. Mr. Rezai, who is already serving a 15-year sentence, was previously sentenced by the appeals court to 50 lashes and a 16 million toman fine payable to the state treasury for insult and threats while in prison. This ruling was affirmed in full by Jalaluddin Yasini, the head of the 41st branch of the Tehran Court of Appeals. Paridokht Shojai Baghini, a Baha'i citizen in Kerman, has been summoned by the Kerman Prison's Enforcement Division to serve a 2-year and 1-month prison sentence. Their initial court session took place in January 2023, with a second session held in April of 2024. The court eventually issued fines and social restrictions. However, Paridokht Shojai's case was unacceptably reopened, resulting in a new sentence of 2 years and 1 month in prison, and 5 years of social restrictions delivered in absentia. Despite an appeal, the court upheld the sentence. Meanwhile, her co-defendants, Yekta Fallah, Fuad Shakir Arkani, Behnam Pur Ahmari, and Shahram Fallah were acquitted at the appeal stage. Suzan Eid Mohammadzadegan and Nusha Badi'i Sabit, 2 Baha'i citizens, have been sentenced to a total of 10 years in prison along with various social restrictions by Branch 1 of the Babel Revolutionary Court. According to the court ruling communicated to them, each of the women received a 5-year prison sentence under Article 500 on charges of engaging in educational or promotional activities, deviating from or contrary to the sacred principles of Islam. Both were also banned from educational and training activities for 18 months. The judiciary of the Islamic Republic of Iran has sentenced 10 Baha'i women in Isfahan to a total of 90 years in prison, alongside fines and other penalties on charges such as educational and promotional activities. On Monday, October 22nd, based on the ruling from the first branch of the Islamic Revolutionary Court in Isfahan, the women accused of promotional educational activities received decades of prison time and were fined hundreds of millions of tomans. According to the ruling, Yegane Agahi, Yegane Ruh Bakhsh, Negin Khademi, Shana Shoghifer, Mojgan Shahrezai, Parastu Hakim, Arezu Sobhanian, and Neda Badakhsh were each sentenced to 10 years in prison and fined 100 million tomans. 1/3 of the sentences for Khademi, Agahi, and Ruh Bakhsh, as well as half of the sentences for Shahrezai, Hakim, Sobhanian, Badakhsh, and Shoghifer have been suspended. Additionally, 2 other individuals, Neda Emadi and Bahare Lotfi, were each sentenced to 5 years in prison and fined 50 million tomans, with 4 years of their sentences also suspended. Protesters gathered in front of the Parliament of the Islamic Republic regime on Tuesday, October 22nd, chanting, "Don't execute." The demonstration was a response to the growing public outcry against the regime's use of the death penalty. The crowd, filled with concerned citizens, stood in defiance of the judiciary's harsh sentencing, urging the government to halt the execution of political prisoners and those involved in recent protests. The protests reflected the rising tensions and frustration among Iranians over human rights abuses. Farmers in the city of Garmsar held a protest in response to the authorities' failure to release their rightful water share from the dam's reserves for the autumn cultivation in November and December. The farmers expressed frustration over the impact of water shortages on their livelihoods and the upcoming planting season, demanding that the government prioritize their needs and release the necessary water for irrigation. On Tuesday, October 22nd, workers in the oil industry in Asaluye and the Kharg offshore region held a protest over incomplete payment of wages and benefits. The protesters are demanding the complete removal of salary caps, the elimination of retirement, severance limitations, refunds for excess tax deductions, full implementation of Article 10, payment of back pay, and protection of the oil workers' retirement fund. On Sunday, October 19th, a group of Social Security retirees in Ahwaz gathered in protest, voicing their frustration over worsening economic conditions and the government's failure to address their long-standing demands. These retirees, who have been struggling with inflation and declining purchasing power, called for immediate action to improve their living conditions. Key concerns included inadequate pensions that have not kept pace with rising costs, delays in promised benefits, and a general lack of support from authorities despite repeated protests. They emphasized that these issues are severely affecting their quality of life, demanding that their voices be heard. On Sunday, October 19th, retirees and pensioners from the Isfahan Steel Company held a protest demanding higher wages and raising concerns over their poor living conditions. The group voiced their frustration with inadequate pensions that have failed to keep pace with inflation, which has significantly impacted their quality of life. Despite previous promises from officials to address their demands, the retirees expressed disappointment over the lack of meaningful action and called for urgent measures to alleviate their financial struggles. A group of Social Security retirees, educators, and military pensioners in Kermanshah held a protest to express their discontent over ongoing economic hardships and the government's failure to address their demands. The protesters highlighted the severe impact of inflation on their livelihoods, emphasizing the insufficiency of their pensions to cover basic living expenses. Additionally, they voiced frustration over the authorities' repeated neglect of their requests for pension adjustments and other financial relief. This protest is a part of a broader wave of unrest among retirees and public sector workers across Iran, demanding better financial conditions and the resolution of long-standing grievances. In another video of the protest by the retirees from 1400, held in front of the offices of representatives, the demonstrators chant slogans like, "If our problem isn't solved, there will be chaos here," and "One less embezzlement and our problems will be solved." These slogans highlight the frustration of retirees over economic hardships and the corruption they believe is exacerbating their issues, calling for immediate attention. A group of protesters raised regime-supporting slogans written by pro-regime individuals inside a city bus and replaced them with the national slogan, "Long live the Shah," as a form of resistance and expression of solidarity with the monarchy. This act symbolizes the growing dissatisfaction with the Islamic Republic and the desire for the return of the monarchy among some groups in Iran. An Iranian woman standing beside the Azadi Tower in Tehran declared her support for the return of Reza Shah II and the Pahlavi family to Iran. She stated that the people of Iran are ready for a national uprising until the overthrow of the Islamic Republic regime.